Welcome back, my fellow agents. It is I, X7, your agent of extreme action and awesome action. Today, it is Tuesday, which is a free day, so to speak, and we will be reviewing an oddball. Well, it's not really odd. It's a reaction to this huge success of Batman. It's from Italy. It was released in 1967 in Italy and 66 in Italy and 67 in Spain. Runs 88 minutes, though the copy I had runs 84, probably due to PAL conversion from the time, from a DVD that we all got a copy of at some point. And it's called Superargo versus Diabolicus, or Contra Diabolicus, or Against Diabolicus, as we'll see. But it's really fun. Yes, it is a immediate. I mean, Italy hopped on fads as soon as they could, didn't they? Sometimes they created them with peplums and spaghetti westerns. But this is a very fun superhero movie, and he's actually a hero. A lot of times, as we've seen in Argo Man, the Fantastic Superman, they're kind of accidental heroes. Oh, we are going to have to go through the three Fantastic Supermen if we can find those. More of them. There's a lot of them. But before we do anything else, please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. Please tell me about what you think about this movie, because unfortunately, this never aired once in Fossil Bed, as far as I know, here in Colorado. I didn't see it until many years later. I would have loved it as a kid because it had a superhero in it, and he's spent his time as a superhero. I mean, he didn't even have a secret identity, not a super secret one either. But so, having said all that, let's roll. Okay, we begin with a televised wrestling match. Superargo is a champion, and he's fighting his deadly foe, El Tigre. And of course, kayfabe was alive and well in 1966, 65, and yet somebody knows something here, but they don't believe it. And there's Michael Buffer. Let's get ready to rumble. Let me just introduce the guys, though. There's Super Argo, there's El Tigre, and the match begins. It's a pretty solid match. I mean, I would assume that's a stunt double fighting for Ken Wood, who was Giovanni Friglia, who was in the Trojan Horse, Sandokan the Great, Hercules the Avenger, the sequel, Super Argo and the Faceless Giants, which we will get to. I found a great copy of that as well. And nothing else I would have seen. Probably Castle of Blood, Revenge of the Gladiators. Apparently he liked gladiator movies. But we don't get a. Let's look over here. See if we can find out who El Tigre was. La la la. They don't have him listed here. So, sorry, El Tigre. You're not gangster, henchman, gangster, doctor, blah, blah, blah. Wrestling announcer was Massimo Rihi. So, anyway, so the fight begins, but unfortunately, Super Argo throws as a foe out of the ring, who cracks his head open and dies. Dun dun dun. So then these weirdo credits show up, as you just heard some of the music from. Anyway, it's just credits are weird, but I realized later on that they're showing the turmoil in Super Argo's mind. Doesn't get a code name. He's just Super Argo. We never see his face, much like El Santo, but his mask does get removed, as we'll see a time or two. There, and they don't even have Super Argo. These animated titles come up, but it's not in the same thing. Ken Wood and Gerhard Tichy, who's Diabolicus, and we'll go on from there. Nick Nostro, I'm sure he's done a lot of things. It was a co-production between Spain and Italy, and like I said, they rushed it into production right away because Batman had just premiered about 6 months earlier. Oops, wrong direction. There's his girlfriend Claudia. Lydia is Superargo's girlfriend who loves him even with. I'm assuming he takes off the mask and the costume every once in a while. We do have 2 trailers here for Superargo, and which the second one's kind of boring. So I chose. We'll listen to a little bit of the first one. I'll probably put them on, maybe depending on how much time we have there. But be that as it may, because the second one's 3 minutes long. It's, like I said, it's not the most exciting trailer. It would have worked on me at age 10, though. There is Diabolicus, his mistress slash girlfriend, played by Loredana Nusiak, who's just gorgeous. I don't know what else she's been in. Let's see. Anything Colossus and the Amazon Queen as Amazone. Gladiator 7. I haven't seen both of those. Let's see. She is from Italy. Yep, she's from Italy because look, she's everyone in Italy is gorgeous. I just can't quite figure that out, but good on them. So, and there's Diabolicus himself and his henchman, who might be Emilio Messina. I don't know. Monica Randell is Lydia, by the way. They take over this yacht, or actually, it's not a yacht, it's a transport. There he is in his quasi futuristic clothing. I'm going to try not to say that very often, but they keep using their futuristic clothing. And they're hijacking radioactive material. Lydia goes to, let's see, who is it? Not Conrad. Oh, let me go back over here. That's Colonel Alex Kenton, Joseph Castillo Escalona, who is an old friend of Superargo. They saved his life in the war. He's the only one that knows his true identity. Offers him a job with the Secret Service or wherever they happen to be. So he introduces him to everybody. Notice the man smoking the pipe. That is Conrad, the council president. And they give him they show a bunch of his powers. They don't explain exactly why he can take a knife to the guts, but he's just he's essentially superhuman. Let's say without being able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. He's a little less than Superman superhuman, but he can hold his breath for up to 7 minutes, which is amazing. And he can withstand cold. Electricity is his only weak point. Now, all of these things are going to come into play in the third act. Keep that in mind. They give him a new costume, which is bulletproof. It's coated with a new plastic, which is bulletproof. And he gets shot. They give him a souped-up new car, which looks like a Porsche, whatever you want to call it. It's pretty cool. And there's a transmitter and a brooch. So guess who gets that? Finally gets a raft with a lot of cool things in it, and a Geiger counter in an olive, a pseudo olive. And of course, Lydia gets her piano, which can record and receive messages. And then he gets attacked because there's a traitor somewhere in the organization. They think he's dead, and they just leave him there. They don't go down and check because they're morons. He calls her and says, "I'm not dead, but let's pretend I am so I can work better that way." This is a beautiful print. I think it's from the DVD. It came from, of course, the Internet Archive. They have both this and Superargo Against the Faceless Giants, but that one's a full screen one. I fortunately know a place to find the widescreen version, and I'm looking forward to watching that instead of a faded print. We're going to be doing some more of these Italian superheroes. We'll get to Santo again as well, and just the fun ones. So more council jibber jabber. Superargo's on his super special lifeboat, which it must. And there's some nice underwater photography, but unfortunately it's shot so dark that it's hard to see anything. But there he is coming up in the grotto, and he's in Diabolicus on the island. How far onto this are we here? We're at, and So I think let's stop here. I will insert the first trailer now.
Superargo. His vigor, incontestable. His vitality, incredible. Indestructible. Inexplicable. Diabolicus. Mad. Mean. And mighty. Superargo. A man of mysterious powers. The one man summoned by the Secret Service to head off the forces of power-mad Diabolicus. A devastating duel of brain and brawn. From the heights of the sky to the depths of the ocean. Superargo pits his superpowers against a diabolical super police.
All right, so they're pushing gold. That's gold bullion in there, lots of it. Fantastic amounts. There's their control room. They find that they have television cameras everywhere, closed circuit, I would assume, even back then. And she's in her futuristic clothing her clothing isn't quasi-futuristic as of yet. But the bad guys have it on there. There's her quasi-futuristic telecom. And they capture Superargo by gassing him, take his mask off, and he's like, I don't understand the reason for the mask. So, let's find out who he is. Like Lex Luthor did when he transferred bodies with the Flash and had no idea who Wally was. I have no idea who this is. It was hilarious. Why would they know? I mean, unless they fight them all the time. Anyway, so they're going to get some information out of him. Lydia's worried, but Conrad says, or Kenton, pardon me. Kenton, yes, says, don't worry about him. But she is, because she is. So now they're telling him to call their contact to make sure, see if he's the real Superargo, because they think Superargo's dead. She's checking up in on all the rest of the spies, I guess. And nuclear power. She's very smart because she gave him the right charts and everything. So they're going to increase gold production. They figured out a way, and they have a philosopher's stone, or a sorcerer's stone, if you will. But as I learned at the philosopher's stone, thank you, Dr. Alchemy, away from turning mercury into gold, Diabolicus wants to flood the world with gold so that it's, all money is useless, so he can take over. It's going to try to take over the world. So they put him in the hibernation chamber thinking that it'll slow him down. Unfortunately for these two goofs, it doesn't. He throws him in there and turns it back on to hibernate them or deep freeze them. Unfortunately for him, he doesn't have the Austin Powers problem of not having a filter after the thawing process. The sets are great here. I mean, look at they're extensive. This was filmed outdoors. Shots were filmed in Spain. The rest was filmed indoors in Italy. Some were apparently filmed in Nick Nostro's villa in Frascati. Pardon me. My Italian is not good. Straight mal. But another slight fight scene. There could have been a couple more fight scenes. Judo chop, judo throw, and then I think those are supposed to be balls of mercury, which is the only metal that's liquid at a room temperature. Thank you, Metalman and DC Comics. Now they're panicking and like, okay, we got to get out of here. And they find out the guys are frozen and they can't find him. So he's heading for the grotto. So he gets out and dives in, has another dark fight scene. Sadly, I had to lighten this up a bit. And then they call the. Then we find out that Conrad he's the baddie there. They call him an idiot, but they go grab Lydia and capture her. But she's wearing the brooch, so um, Superargo, who looks a lot like the Phantom, and that mask is they made that to fit his face, so he could breathe and see a lot easier than say poor Adam West, who did not get a fitting mask, and they should have really. Come on, both him and Burt Ward should have their masks should have been a little better. I guess that's part of the joke, but put into emergency plan 4. Wouldn't it have been nice if he'd have said plan 9? There's the brooch, it falls off. Superargo arrives in his super cool car. This guy throws his buddies under the bus immediately, threatens him twice, doesn't even have to threaten to beat him up. Now they're getting into some quasi futuristic clothing. She's a good looking woman. And he goes to talk to Kenton. He says, I gotta go. They've got Lydia. I'm in on my own. He's like, okay, you got till midnight, and then we're gonna bomb the island. It's got explosives. They want to make him a deal. They always want to make him a deal. Make the hero a deal. Join us. Be part of our plan. Or we're going to fry your girlfriend. So he says, of course. But that backfires. Literally. Get it? Fire. See what I did there? He shoots every villain, and he might have felt bad for killing his friend, his best friend, which he admits to Lydia that he killed his friend. So there goes kayfabe out the door in the movie in this world. But then he blows away bad guys, so he has no problem with that if it's justified. I mean, he blows away like 30 or 40 guys. A little bloodshot, a little blood squib there. He says, you cover me. And this guy's about to kill her, but he blasts him with a Herringer. Now they're definitely in quasi-futuristic clothing, except for Conrad. And Kenton has told Superargo that they will get the traitor. They don't know who it is yet, but they're going to get him and he will pay. So he sends her to get the plans for all of his turning his mercury into gold. Seems like that seems like a very odd changing thing. Usually it was lead, but lead's very heavy. Gold's very heavy. She grabs the gun and then she turns on him. She was sent there to get all these plans. Never told by whom or what country, but somebody did. Unfortunately, Lydia's had enough of her nonsense. Blasts her. He's all, oh, thanks. I'm going to take this rocket and leave. Zzz, there's our weakness to electricity. It can't kill him, but he can't do anything. She's about to pull him off. Lydia wants to help him, and he's like, don't touch me, because he's not grounded. You'd think with his gloves, they're plastic, you'd think he'd be grounded, but he gets away, and here comes the bombers. Diabolicus has set a bomb to go off in 3 minutes, and it's a very long 3 minutes. There you go. The guy in the boat has Conrad in his sights. Kablam! Bye bye, Conrad. And now here are the bombers flying in, but the helicopter picks up Superargo. He's closed the doors so that Diabolicus can't get out with his rocket, and the bomb goes off. Kaboom! Now he can take off his mask. And that's the end of the movie. I didn't listen to any more of this. I'm kind of sad because it's a good trailer.
Superargo is bigger.
We'll listen to a little bit here while we look at the credits. But this will be on at the end. Actually, I want to put this one. Dang, I blew it. This will be on at the end. Sorry about
that. Indestructible. Inexplicable.
All right, so we'll see that, and I hope I can. Well, we'll see. I may switch things around here. But my fellow agents, this has been Superargo versus Diabolicus. This has been our 514th episode. I hope you've enjoyed it. And until our next assignment, this is X7. Fading out and signing off. Phasing out, signing off. with spooky music. There we go.